Hello, everyone. I hope your day and week is off to a great start. If you're someone who has been online all day, I encourage you to get up and stretch the body before we get started. So, today we will be looking at the different methods of persuasion, ethos, pathos, and logos. The main goals of today's lecture is to first be able to distinguish between ethos, pathos, and logos. Second, to identify the different factors of credibility, use of evidence, and different types of reasoning. And finally, to identify different emotions and how to use them. As stated in this week's reading, presentations have the potential to hold an audience's attention, just like a good movie. But just simply stating fact after fact in an hour-long presentation doesn't let your audience know why these facts are important. Persuasion is the process of creating, reinforcing, or changing people's beliefs or actions. Aristotle offers the persuasive components of ethos, pathos, and logos as a way for us to understand how we can appeal to our audiences. Ethos is the name used by Aristotle for what modern students of communication refer to as credibility. Ethos allows for you as the speaker or presenter to connect with your audience through shared experiences or values, so then your audience is more likely to view you as credible, but also be more receptive to your claims. What is meant by credibility in this case is the audience's perception of whether a speaker is deemed qualified to speak on that subject matter. And two major factors of a speaker's credibility are competence and character. Competence is how an audience regards a speaker's intelligence, expertise, and knowledge of the subject, whereas character is how an audience regards a speaker's sincerity, trustworthiness, and concern for the well-being of their audience. There's also initial credibility, so credibility that takes place before you as a speaker even begin to speak. Derived credibility of the speaker that takes place during the speech itself. And terminal credibility, the credibility of the speaker at the end of the speech. There's also this idea of common ground, a technique in which a speaker connects themselves with the values, attitudes, or experiences of the audiences. For example, what if your persuasive speech or presentation was to persuade the audience that cats are better than dogs? Saying something like cats rule and dogs drool would attack those that love dogs. You cannot persuade your audience by assaulting their values and rejecting their opinions. Instead, convey to your audience that you have their best interests in mind and that you are considerate of their values and beliefs. Now, pathos is a name used by Aristotle for what modern students of communication refer to as emotional appeal. There are types of emotion like fear, compassion, pride, anger, guilt, and reverence. You also want to consider how you're going to utilize those emotions. So whether that's through emotional language, vivid examples and imagery, or sincerity and conviction, so that the audience doesn't feel not only that they have to listen, but more so that they want to listen. Logos is a name used by Aristotle for the logical appeal of the speaker. The two major elements of logos are evidence and reasoning. Here, you as the speaker are building structure and organization so that your audience can easily follow and make sense of your speech. Evidence is a supporting material used to prove or disapprove of something. So keep in mind here, your supporting materials are the examples, statistics, and testimonies you use to help support your main points. And then you have reasoning, which is the process of drawing a conclusion on the basis of that evidence. And reasoning can deem from reasoning from specific instances to reasoning from principle, causal reasoning, or analogical reasoning. It's also important to note that if you give evidence, you want to explain what that evidence means and why it benefits your argument. Now that we have distinguished between ethos, logos, and pathos, identified the factors of credibility, use of evidence, and types of reasoning, I want you to think of an acceptance speech given by an artist, actor, or public figure that you found particularly compelling and jot down some reasons of why.